Welcome into the First Bank Coaches Show. This week we're privileged to have head baseball coach Jess Trask with us. I'm Ray Pack. We're going to go through some things, preview the season, talk about key players returning and such through this show. So, Coach, welcome.
Good
Congratulations on your promotion to the head coaching job. You did a great job as an assistant coach. I'll just throw that out there. Well, let's talk first of all. We're going into a new season. We're right there in the polls receiving votes. So what are your expectations for your first season as a head coach?
You know, the expectations are endless in my mind. They swirl and swirl, but I know we have a seasoned bunch of guys, and we've added several newcomers that we hope to make an impact really soon. And I think we're really solid and we're really deep. We're a deep squad. So, you know, the expectations that I see that just try to limit some down is that we go out and we compete and we can work hard and you know, just do the little things correctly as we progress through the season, for sure.
All right. Well, you mentioned you've got several guys coming back. You've added some key pieces. Let's first talk about some of the key position players that you've got returning that you have high expectations of. We don't have time to list all 8 of them, okay?
Sure.
Because I know you got a bunch of returners. So,
right.
Which are your key ones, you think?
Will McCall at third base. He's been a mainstay over there his entire career here at Freed. And Zach Sanders, he's sliding from second base to shortstop to start the season out, and he's been working there since August. And he's a dynamic middle infielder. And that move from second, it's been one that he's challenged himself with, and he's really taken that on and has done a really, really good job throughout the year earning that spot. And so behind the dish, we have Mason Libla coming back, and he's a good leader and a solid battery mate back there. Christian Presley, William Kelly. Those are 2 guys that were in the lineup quite a bit last year that are going to be guys that come back, and then Sean Rooney, you know, a Gold Glover.
Where are you going to put Rooney at?
Rooney, I think we'll probably keep him at first. Okay. National Gold Glove winner last year, and
first in history, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Freed-Hardeman, right?
Yes, sir. So he was a solid guy over there, and we had 2 other Gold Gloves on the infield last year, and those 2 guys would be the first to tell you that Sean Rooney was a big part of helping them earn those Gold Gloves as well, because he's done a fantastic job of being a leader on the infield along with Will and Zach, and just the communication and awareness that he has is second to none. And that first base position, you know, sometimes thought of as a hitter, which he's a solid hitter as well, but he's such a solid defender that he really makes that infield tick, for sure.
Well, you mentioned Rooney at first, and I'm a former first baseman, so I understand what you're talking about. He can make or break an infielder, but Sean is kind of like a Hoover vacuum cleaner over there.
No doubt about it.
I mean, there's not much that gets by him.
No.
If the ball takes one hop, he's generally right there. Only thing that he has trouble with is if they throw it over his head.
Yeah, he can't.
And he's not 7
feet tall. He can't stretch that wide. So we utilize that turf and we keep that ball down low, and he does a good job of digging that thing.
Well, let's talk about that. I'm glad you mentioned that about the turf, because is it easier to get the hop to skip on a throw on the turf than it is off the grass or off the dirt?
You know, some natural fields that we play on now, if it's a smooth surface and a well-kept field, those hops are very similar. But every once in a while, we'll get on a field that has a cut that might have a lip and have some variability there. But a lot of we play on some nice maintained fields, and the turf field, of course, it's pretty consistent. But you know, there's a few times last season where we were on a tougher field, and Rooney was able to handle that hop. So. It's not just a clean place where he's a vacuum. I mean, he right. Vacuums the
but he's very good at it, and I'll give him props for that. Well, so those are key position players. Now, pitching staff, it changes all the time. I know we have Alex Huey coming back, and you've got Colton Hunt coming back. Of course, Colton played in the summer league, the college summer league this summer. got some valuable experience from just talking to him.
No doubt.
Enjoyed that. So, besides those two, who else we got? Who else you got is going to be key contributors, either in a rotation or coming out of the bullpen?
You know, we added it up over the winter. I think we lost 150 plus innings of guys. So we have a few pieces that we're returning. Louis Torres is a guy we're looking at who's gonna slide into a starting role this spring, and he did a really good job out of the pen last year. Saw a lot of appearances. Made a start in the opening round and threw really well against Kansas Wesleyan, and so he's been familiar with that role before he come in here as a reliever, and so him sliding back into that I think will be very good. His arsenal is something we really like about him, and his strike throwing ability. So Louis, we're really looking forward to having back. Quinn Bennett is another returner that I think has made some strides coming forward.
Don't recognize that name as much.
Yeah, he threw a little bit last year early on, and you know, didn't get as much time later on in the season, but he's worked really hard and made some strides forwards. And you know, Mason Morgan, well, he took the fall off, but he's getting back to healthy now and kind of building back up. But he contributed last year a little bit in the postseason. You know, he kind of hit his stride. So seeing him come back to form as we go will be a big addition. And then numerous amounts of newcomers that have had some track record and had some success at other places that I think can really help us out. And some inexperienced, some experienced at the college level. And we're looking forward to throwing them into the fire and seeing how they do in late January and February.
Yep. All right, Coach. Well, that takes care of segment number 1 here on the First Bank Coaches Show. We'll come back with our second segment and talk about the upcoming season, which starts this week. So we'll be back with more right here on the Lion Digital Network First Bank Coaches Show.
At First Bank, we tell our customers to bank local and get more. But everyone's more is different. Is yours more adventure? More space? More education? Or work that's more you? We always say bank local, get more. More product range, more accessible bankers, and a whole lot less standing in your way. Whatever your more, you can now get more excited because we got this.
And welcome back into the First Bank Coaches Show right here on the Lion Digital Network. Well, Coach, you kick off the season this week on Friday as you travel down to Louisiana and you play Loyola, the number 23 ranked team in the coaches preseason poll, which I'm not sure how much stock we ought to put in a preseason poll because it's all based on what you did last year.
Right.
But anyway, what have you learned about Loyola that you want to share? Just you don't have to share everything, but what have you learned about that team?
You know, Loyola, a team we're pretty familiar with. We've gone down there a couple times. We didn't go down last year, but we've gone there a few times in the past. Jeremy Kennedy, their head coach, I worked for him out in Kansas when I spent a year at Bethany. So we have a really good friendship and bond, and that's a big reason why we're going down and playing them. I like getting down there and seeing him and seeing his squad. I really like the type of baseball they play, and it's good for us to get south a little bit further and
get that game in.
Yep.
Because we know what Tennessee weather's like.
It can be
and at this time
hit
of
or
year.
miss.
That's right.
So it's good to get down there, and in the past we've gone down there and split both times, you know, and it's always been competitive. You know, it's a competitive road that we go down when we go down and play Loyola. So seeing them as a 23rd in the nation doesn't surprise me one bit. They were opening round team last year, and they're returning a couple of their arms that had some pretty good success for them last year, and They lost some pieces lineup-wise that they're going to have to replace, some big pieces lineup-wise that they're going to have to replace. So, but Kennedy's always done a really good job of bringing in players, so they'll play a brand of baseball that really, no matter who they have, they're going to be tough and competitive. So.
Okay. I assume you all will leave Thursday, sometime Thursday.
Yeah, we'll leave Thursday afternoon and head down, and because we'll play that doubleheader on Friday.
So it's a doubleheader Friday
Yep.
and a single on Saturday.
Single on
then.
Saturday
okay.
and get us back
so
on
it's
the
just
road.
the opposite of what we are going to see in conference
Sure.
play.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, and then after that, we come home, and you have Bryan College, or it is Bryan College, right? Yeah, Bryan College, out of East Tennessee. They're coming to town. It's a team that you're very familiar with. We've played them probably the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah, played them last year.
On a home and home type basis for the most part.
Yeah, we went to them last year and played them in 4 games. That first game went 13 innings. We actually started.
You started on one field, and that's the one you started on one field, and the rain came, and you had to finish it on another field.
Yeah, so we actually won 3 games that Saturday. We finished a 13-inning affair. Some awesome play in that game to get that thing done. The atmosphere, which I expect down at Loyola will be the same way, but the atmosphere against teams, an opening round team like Bryan, an opening round team like Loyola, it's real, and it's real early. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, we were able to go there and take that series and do really well. Offensively, they're strong. Their pitching staff is, they got some hard throwers. They have some guys who can mix it a little bit. They're a quality club, and like I said, opening round type team. And when you get a chance to play those guys early and get tested, it really answers some questions that we have as a club.
So those two series will give you some answers of where you are and give you direction of where you want to be.
A lot of times, yes. And like you said, last year's team doesn't determine this year's team ever, but traditionally, two quality.
Yeah,
clubs.
I was going to say, Bryan has always been right there in that poll. So, and those games are you play 2 on Friday and you play 2 on Saturday.
Yep.
I don't have the start times. You can go to gofhulions.com and click on sports, find the baseball, and click schedule, and you'll find the times on that. Well, one more thing that we can cover in this segment. We're playing in the Mid-South Conference. The last couple of years since we've been in the conference, it seems like the conference race has always been between University of the Cumberlands and Freed-Hardeman.
Yeah.
I'm expecting, Cumberland preseason ranked number 18, of course. I'm expecting that to be the case this year.
Sure.
Are there any teams that might sneak up and be better than they've been in the past, or have you had time to really examine this conference?
The conference top to bottom is very strong. A team I wouldn't even not a sneaky team. Cumberland, Tennessee.
They're the perennial.
They're
the perennial powerhouse.
They're a big time program in this conference, and they were tough last year, and they're a solid club. Back from the days when we played them in midweeks and everything, they're a first class club, and they can really get things done. But Cumberland's, in the preseason preview, Coach Shelton over there said, this is the best team they've ever had, and I've seen some good teams, so you know what I mean. So it'll be interesting to go up against them. We went to their place last year and took 2 or 3 from them, which was a huge series for us on the road. Really kind of stapled some things home for our club, and this year we don't play them in the regular season, so we won't see them until hopefully tournament time.
You hope to see them in Bowling Green.
Yeah, hopefully see them in Bowling Green.
The conference tournament is still in Bowling Green. Is that
Bowling
correct?
Green. Yeah, we faced off with them in the last 2 conference championship games, and they've been able to dogpile both those times, and our boys just look across the field and see them doing that, and I don't think we have much love lost with Cumberland's University. I think that's a pretty good rivalry that we've kind of grown and developed over the last few years.
It seems to me that the Mid-South Conference, and it doesn't really matter what sport you're playing, whether it be volleyball, men's or women's basketball, top to bottom. Anybody is going to be able to beat anybody on any given day.
There are really, really quality players and good arms and good offensive guys and good defenders spread out throughout the conference. And it's a test every time you take the field. Doesn't matter if it's that game 1 starter, game 3 starter. You're going to be challenged from the time you throw that first pitch of the series until the final out in that go.
All right. Well, that'll do it for the First Bank Coaches Show here on the Lion Digital Network. I will go ahead and mention for everybody out there, got a couple of big basketball games coming up. I know this is a baseball show, but we need to throw out there that both men's and women's have big games this week. Starting Thursday night as the Tigers from Georgetown come into town. Both of those teams are ranked in the top 25. And then we get the University of the Cumberlands coming back in, and both of those teams, one receives votes, and the men's team is ranked in the top 25. So come out, support the Lions and Lady Lions basketball team this week, and then the next week you can come out on Friday and Saturday and support the Lion baseball team. We would appreciate that. Again, you can get all of your information on Lion Sports at gofhulions.com. And our fabulous SID, Mr. Dustin Seymour, keeps that website up to date with lots of information. Anyway, for Coach Jess Trask, I'm Ray Pack, and we thank you for joining us for the First Bank Coaches Show.